Detective Hercule Poirot? Ah, Chief Commissioner. On the contrary, it is a most convenient time. The safe passage of a painting? Tell me everything. If man was meant to travel the oceans in such conditions, he would surely have been given his own fins. A distraction is what one needs. Where is that blasted contact? How is one to prepare for an assignment if one does not have all of the required information? Very well. I shall wait no longer.
Beautiful, isn't she?
Pardon, monsieur?
The open water. There really is nothing quite like her.
When one suffers from the mal de mer, the beauty, as you say, is rather more a burden.
Forgive me, I just can't imagine being scared of the ocean in this day and age. The potential to see the world is open to even the ordinary man like us.
I can assure you, monsieur, it is not a matter of being scared. And as for ordinary...
I didn't mean to offend, mister.
I am...
Forgive me, madame.
No harm done. Accidents happen. My cigarette case, where is it?
I didn't see.
You thought I wouldn't notice? A young lady traveling alone. An easy target for you, I bet.
I'm sure the young lady would appreciate the help of two handsome strangers.
Oh. Ah. A young lady should not be left to gather her own things.
I didn't drop it on purpose.
Oh dear. What a mess.
A young lady should not be left to gather her own... Aha. Huh. 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 A young lady should not be left to gather her. You are returning home?
I am.
Besides your educated accent, the crest that adorns your cigarette case, it is of British origin.
Very observant. It's the crest of my family, and the case belonged to my mother. Miss Florence Farquhar, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is ours.
That looks like everything. Except for...
Is this what you're looking for?
It is!
Miss Babanin. Anastasia Babanin.
Anastasia.
It was my grandmother's.
Well, that's everything now. I can't thank you...
I'd be happy to escort you. Here, I'll take your bag.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Cabin Anastasia. Perhaps I can offer you a token of my gratitude in the bar later?
That would be lovely.
And you, Mr...
Detective Hercule Poirot, at your service.
A detective? I was not expecting to meet such a distinguished gentleman on...
I did not expect to meet someone of Russian descent on a ship between the great city of Antwerp and Dover.
I never mentioned where I was from either.
One did not have to. Anastasia, of Russian origin meaning resurrection.
And here was me thinking I was special.
Your knowledge of my heritage is more...
And I'll take that as my cue to leave. Good.
It seems it's just us remaining.
I would very much like to hear stories from your homeland. Perhaps you would join me in the restaurant.
As charming as that would be, I'm feeling rather tired.
Then I shall leave you to your slumber. Adieu. As much as I enjoyed the delights of the restaurant, I still found my mind drifting back to Mademoiselle Babagna. She really was quite... I have spent the first part of this excursion neglecting my duties. It's time to retrieve my notebook. The combination was not a difficult one to remember. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo. Ah. Et voilà. Time to... One cannot ignore such a blood...
My mother's cigarette case! It's gone! How could somebody do this?
Mademoiselle, I ask that you take a moment to calm.
You're a detective, of course! What luck!
As luck would have it, one of Belgium's finest. Now, I require as many details of the crime as you can offer.
I came to my cabin and began unpacking. I couldn't get the safe working, but the gentleman that helped me with my luggage showed me how it works. Afterwards, I went for a brief walk, and when I returned, the safe was open, and my cigarette case was gone.
We must consider the suspect list. Those who were aware of the cigarette cases
That can only be those who were up on the deck when my luggage spilled. Miss Babanian, the porter, yourself.
and your helpful stranger.
Yes, of course.
I ask that you gather them for me. And while you are absent, I shall begin my investigation in here, if Mademoiselle permits.
Whatever you need to do to find it.
Aha. Oh. Huh.
Mademoiselle, I thought you would be returning with the gentleman also.
The gentleman wanted to speak to the porter alone first.
I was unaware he is also a detective.
He's not a policeman. He works in insurance.
It appears I shall be spending my time chasing amateur detectives.
Mademoiselle, I would like to start with who had access to this.
No one. It was in a sealed envelope that was waiting for me when I arrived. I memorized it and threw the paper overboard. 4385. It's really not that difficult to remember.
A similar envelope was waiting for me upon my arrival. The date of the Battle of Waterloo, as I recall. Every safe, although identical, must have a different combination.
After the gentleman helped me with the safe, he left.
If the mysterious gentleman is behind the theft, he went to great lengths to hide his fingerprints, but did little to hide his movements in Mademoiselle Farquhar's cabin. There are many questions that require answers. Answers I believe he may hold. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. Mademoiselle Babagnan. I'm sorry we...
On the contrary, I'm afraid I've done very little actually. After we parted ways, I went to my cabin. I had barely unpacked and I was fast asleep on the bed.
Alone?
That is a rather personal question, don't you think? I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. A poor attempt at it.
There is no need to be nervous. And then?
And then...
You have been most helpful, mademoiselle. I shall not take up...
Oh. Aha.
I'm sorry, but it's just not acceptable, Mark.
I've apologized to the lady.
And that makes everything
It was an accident.
an accident that could have been avoided if you hadn't...
Gentlemen, you are behaving like two... Is Mademoiselle Farquhar aware you are acting as her knight in shining?
I wouldn't go as far as that. I think I'm Arthur Hastings. Would...
She requested you to follow her to her cabin, no?
Oh, yes, she did, but I...
Speak with the porter privately? This was part of your
Well, I'm not a detective.
Then perhaps you will answer some questions that are vital to my...
What can I do? It is. Is my employment relevant to Miss Farquhar's missing cigarette case?
I hope you will entertain me for a moment. What would you say the chance...
Well, a report from a detective like yourself will serve...
As I thought. It had perhaps...
When Florence, Miss Farquhar, told me that something had gone missing from her safe, I thought it must have...
How so?
I'd rather not say with him standing...
It is not I that controls the volume of your voice.
You must have noticed the smell of beer on his breath. I wouldn't put it past a man.
That is quite the accusation. And if you were correct, you wish to settle the matter with him
I wanted to get... I'm what some would call a middleman. I oversee the handling of recently sold items and put the buyer in contact with an appropriate insurer.
The mention of insurance initially sparked my attention. But the more he talks of his work, I believe he may be my mysterious contact from Lloyd's of London. It was your work that took you to Belgium?
I can't go into too many details, but I'm actually delivering a rather special... I'm meant to be meeting an official of some sorts that's supposed to be helping me, but...
And it is confirmed. It concerns me that my supposed trusted colleague has found himself involved in... I will continue. Merci, monsieur.
This really is an exciting case. Anything I can do to help Miss
Your enthusiasm has been noted. Perhaps you and I can have a more civilized discussion.
I'll tell you the same as I told your friend.
Intimidation is not my forte. What is?
And that's me?
That is what I...
Who said anything about...
It does not take a detective to identify the distinct...
I was in the cargo hold, cutting something with my knife, and it slipped.
I'm not quite sure you understand.
So now I am stupid, and...
Do you have the knife in question on your...
I don't. He stole it and won't return it.
What can I do for you?
Magnifique. A fingerprint.
You found one, detective? Ah, how exciting! I suppose you'll want to take mine.
Aha. Mademoiselle Farquhar, I shall have your cigarette case returned to you before we reach
I hope. Insured? Oh no,
anything of substantial
I'll stop you there. Not for a second. At least not with my permission. You probably think this silly, naive woman has left her valuables out, or I've just misplaced them. But
It had not crossed my mind for even a moment.
you caught me, reading my own article.
I must say you raise a very interesting point. Art should have no social bound.
Thank you for saying. Yes, I'm really quite
You have been invited to a preview at the Royal Edward Gallery.
Will you be in attendance? It's actually what I was lucky enough to have a sneak peek at some of the pieces on show. I'll also be writing a follow.
Lucky.
You can ask me anything. Am I to be used as your...
I would not dare compare you to a guinea pig.
The answer is yes.
Is there something I am not seeing? I cannot see the logic in this. I must take a different approach if I am to I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction. Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically. The pieces of the puzzle are fine. The evidence suggests something else. Where is the sense in that?
Oui, monsieur.
I shall let you return. What can I do for you?
Oh. Ah. Hmm. Ah.
Oui, monsieur.
I shall let you return to your... Huh. Huh. Hot on the culprit's heels. Things are beginning to become clearer. I must consider the suspects I have in front of me. He is keen to impress Mademoiselle Farquhar and claims that he was alone in his cabin. Mark Allard, the porter. Evidence suggests a rather amateur attempt to break into the safe, which in his but it was just a ruse. The safe was opened quite masterfully. Mademoiselle Babagnan, a new friend to Mademoiselle Farquhar. I cannot see a motive besides the obvious value of the cigarette case. But Mademoiselle Farquhar has made it quite clear perhaps the best thing for me would be to return to my cabin to think. I fear my legs and perhaps...
Ah, detective. How goes the investigation?
A good detective, better yet, a great detective, will find...
She found it! Miss Babagnan found it! Oh, thank...
I was on my way to speak with the captain when I saw something shining underneath one of those pipes.
Strange that it was not spotted earlier by any one of us while on the ship's deck.
Maybe the thief was scared and dumped it for fear of being...
Miss Babagnan. Anastasia. You saved the day. And you, of course, detective.
I find Mademoiselle Babagnan's explanation of finding the cigarette case rather coincidental. But the cigarette case has been returned and the coast is in sight. Which is... although there still remains a part of me...
I suppose you can chalk that...
A victory for Mademoiselle Farquhar, but not...
Well, if anyone asks, I'll confirm what a splendid job you did.
Very kind. While we are on the matter of truth, Monsieur Arthur Hastings, you are here to oversee the transportation of the penitent Magdalene painting, are you not?
How on earth?
You are aware of my employment, but not of my true identity. Detective Hercule Poirot.
Wait, are you the official that I was supposed to have met on board?
Oui, monsieur. Please, accept my apologies for keeping my true identity hidden. But when it comes to the nature of our work, trust...
A little unorthodox, but I suppose I understand. So...
It continues to grow.
Well, we have a couple of weeks before the gala, so hopefully by then you'll trust...
One can hope.